All right, guys, and let's welcome to section 6.3. So we are still going to be factoring. So I need to be able to factor 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. Okay, so it's very similar to what we were doing before, but now you've got to look at the 2. So how do you make 2? What numbers make 2? Well, 1 and 2. So therefore, when you come and make these pods, you need a 1 and a 2. How do you make x squared? Well, x and x. Okay. Again, you're going to come and ask yourself, how do I make 5? Or how do I make that plus sign? It's either plus plus or minus minus, and this happens to be plus plus. So here I come in, I put my pluses in. Okay, now I need to put my factors of 5, which are 1 and 5. Here's going to be our trick. So I'm going to put a 5 and a 1. This I'm going to have to test. So I'm going to test the insides, which become out to be 10x, and I'm going to test the outsides of the FOIL, which becomes 1x. Okay, when I add those up, that gives me 11x, which is not my 7x. Okay, so I'm going to have to try again. And the way I'm going to try that again is I'm going to change the position of the 5 and the 1. So I am now going to make this 1 and this 5. Okay, and when I do that, that gives me, 2x and 1, and then 1x times 5 gives me 5x. When I sum up 2x and 5x, that gives me our 7x. Okay, so then this would be your solution. This is what I call, this section is very much like cracking the code into a lock. Okay, you have some vital information, you know how to make this, and you know how to make this, but you just got to get the combination of them correct. Okay, all right, here's another one. Okay, you're going to start off by making your 2 pods. What makes 15? 1 and 15, or 3 and 5. Okay, what makes 14? 1 and 14, 2 and 7. Okay, so I always choose the ones that are the closest together. May or may not work correctly, but that's where I like to start. So I'm going to start off with 3x and 5x. Okay, then I come here and I look, they're both, this is a plus, so that means it's either going to be plus plus or minus minus, and this tells me it's going to be plus plus. Okay, plus plus. And got to throw in 2 and 7. So here I go. Here's my insides. That gives me 10x. And my outsides give me 21x. I sum up 10 and 21, and I get 31. So that's not going to work. So let's try the 7 and the 2 the other direction. So that's 7. And this becomes 2. So 7 times 5 is 35. And then 3x times 2 gives me 6x. 35 plus 6x is 41x. So that would give me my solution set. All right, here's another problem. You have 10x squared minus 17xy plus 3y squared. Again, we can go ahead and start with our 2 sets of parentheses. What makes 10? 1 and 10, 2 and 5. What makes 3? 1 and 3. Okay, so I will do 2x and 5x. I know that either has to be plus plus or minus minus, and it is minus minus. So I'm going to come in minus minus, and I'm going to put my 1 and my 3. Test the insides, that gives me 5x. Test the outsides, that would give me 6x. Sum that up, that gives me 11. Oh, and these are negative. That gives me negative 11, which is not what I want. So let's try it the other direction, the other way around. 3 and 3 and 1. So negative 3 times 5x gives me 15x, and 2x times 1x gives me negative 2x. Negative 15 plus negative 2 does sum up to negative 17x, which is what I want. So that's great. All right, let's look at this equation. Now, actually, let me talk about this one for a second. So if this hadn't worked, if this 3 and 1 hadn't worked with the 15 and 2x by changing the 3 and the 1 around, so then that would eliminate the 2 and the 5. You would then have to go on to 1 and 10. Okay, so try all the combinations with the 2 and 5, and if that doesn't work, move on to 1 and 10 and see if that will work. So here's one problem. The first thing when you see a problem like this is you want to make sure it's in descending order. So that would be 13x squared plus 8x minus 5. Okay, so I can do my parentheses, 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 parentheses. What makes 13? 1 and 13. What makes 5? 1 and 5. So I'm going to put 1x and 13x. How do I make a minus sign? Well, one has to be plus, and one has to be minus. Hold on. Let's see, so one has to be plus and one has to be minus. So let's make sure I put them in kind of and it doesn't matter which order you do it in. So let's make this a minus and let's make this a plus. And then I'm going to put my 1 and my 5 in. I'm going to come in and do my insides, and that's going to give me negative 13x. And my outsides are going to give me plus 5x. When I sum that up, I get a negative 8x. Okay? And here's the deal. Don't panic. You got 8x and you got 8x. This one just has to be positive. It has to be positive, and we came up with negative. So there's a great, quick, easy fix. All we have to do is change this to that plus. Remember that? And this guy just turns into a minus. No big deal. So that would then become positive 13, and this would become negative 5x, and that would become positive 8, and all would be great. Now, what about this problem? Isn't that the same problem? No. Okay, so let's look at this one. So again, we're going to come in, do this. How do we make 3? 1 and 3. How do we make 5? 1 and 5. So I'm going to put a 1x and a 3x. With this 1x, remember that you do not have to have the 1 there. Okay, so the 1 is not required. The computer will accept the 1s. Just note that. So then you're going to ask yourself, how do I make a plus plus? And it's either going to be plus plus or minus minus. So, and this tells us it's a plus plus. And I come in and put my 1 and my 5 in. I'm going to test my insides, which give me 3x. Test my outsides, which give me 5x. Sum that up, and that gives me 8x. So I did that Correct.